bipolar disturbance is the pop diagnosis du jour. And I absolutely feel as though people don't understand the disturbance in the way in which I think it needs to be understood.
My anxiety is because there's so much we don't know. It's easy to overdiagnose something. The literature on pediatric bipolar disorder is in its infancy. That's my opening statement when I'm talking to a parent who wonders. 3% of the electoral returns are in on this condition. I'm not calling this election yet.
How's the world look from there?
Silly. This is cuckoo. Okay, let's get this party started.
All right.
I see.
Both kids were placed with us right after birth. First Casey, and then when he was about 3 months old, the mother was pregnant again. There you go. There were a lot of risk factors, mental illness in both families on both sides. So we knew it was kind of risky. We kind of went for the nature versus nurture, that the nurture would kind of win out. We first noticed Casey when he was an infant, he wouldn't sleep.
We didn't know that there was anything serious. But as he started to grow, Maria noticed that his eyes would stay open when he would sleep. It was kind of eerie. You'd walk in and see him, sound asleep, but his eyes would be at half-mast. It was just very, very eerie looking. And, she got out her DSM-4 and started looking up neurological disorders and stuff. And she kind of diagnosed him like way before it was ever official, I think. There you go.
Give it! Give it back! Can you drink all my water? Anything like that? Meow. Hubba hubba.
They look like every other kid, but they're not. Not a day goes by without something being slammed or kicked or hit or punched, and most people don't see that. Let's take a nap.
Bedtime yet? No?
We go to bed at 8. We go to bed at 8.
Casey was always on the go, never stopped.
What do you see up there, Case?
The spider webs.
But the biggest thing is he had these days in a row. We used to call them psycho days. And he just used to be so irritable and scream and cry for 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row.
It's been all but knocked off its hinges, but you can see this part of it here, just from constant repeated slamming. And this window's been broken.
Slashed his mattress.
Slashed his mattress. It's entirely out of his control. That's become evident since we've had him, because I used to think I thought it was just a kid being a kid, a boy being a boy, But it's clearly more than that.
Shut up, Dad! No, get up! No, get up, Dad! Shut up! No! Shut up! I don't want it!
I do remember him with a knife saying he was going to stab somebody one time. This is when he was fairly young. This is like 5 or 6. Hitting, kicking. I've been bitten. I had my lips busted, both of them. No bones busted. Lots of bruises. Threw my shoulder out. So, just stuff that goes with a kid going absolutely bonkers on you. And he can't help it. He can't help it. It's like he's hit with jumper cables when these episodes have. It's like a seizure. We've likened it to a seizure.
It's scary sometimes. Well, once he started biting me, and guess what happens? I start to bleed.
Case? Can you take your medicine for me? Thank you.
The neurologist told me that it would be criminal not to medicate this child. That was like the big, okay, what do we need to do? And that was the start of his treatment.
Ugh, hate it.
You want me to count? Okay. 1. Finish that?
I have 2 more to go.
Okay, I'm watching. 1, 2, 3.
I take like 8 or 10. I take like 10 a day. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 fingers a day.
Annie was very calm when she was young, and then all of a sudden she spit at her preschool teacher as she got older. She took all the butter knives from the drawer and she put them under her pillow.
I need to
you
go
can't go out there.
I need to go get some.
Come on. Calm down.
I need something.
You gotta stop.
I need it.
I'll give you a drink, okay? You wanna take a break for a drink?
Yes.
Okay, take a time out. Time out for a drink. Time out for a drink, okay? Time out. Don't hit mom.
We tried the naughty step from Manning 911. You know, people say in so many words, well, maybe you should try parenting skills. Or one school psychologist says, well, we need to take a look at what's going on at home.
And we went to the parenting classes, and I used to teach parenting classes, but we still went to the parenting classes, and nothing worked. It was the last resort, and you always hear people saying, well, how can you put your kids on meds? And I don't know any parent that says, oh, I want to put my kid on meds. It's just not something that people do. It's the very last resort when, your child can't function normally.
There were little peepees living in my brain.
Is that true or is that a story?
It's true.
What peoples live in your brain?
Red, yellow, purple, green, pink, black. I always hear the voices like this. Hello, 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 hello. Oh, and one of the voices sounds like this. Hello, yay.
It exists, it's very real, and it's scary. It's scary to think of them growing into teenagers and then growing into young adults. And from what I hear, the profound, the anger and the outbursts that we're experiencing now turns into profound depression and then suicide.